Brent, I guess to kick things off, obviously the entire brain trust was up there for the rookie games. Um, Obviously everyone was there. A lot of the fans are there for Michkov. But aside from Michkov, who did you see that stood out to you guys?
Well, first of all, I probably look at it a little differently than you guys sometimes, but I'm looking at the younger guys, the guys most recently drafted. Typically, some of the older guys are out there to play, and a lot of them are waiting for main camp. But the young guys to get in that level of play and get over the nerves and show what they can do. And I was very happy. Obviously, Luchanko was really good for Gill for a young player. We know he has to get stronger, but the size, range, mobility, and the poise that he plays with is exciting, especially in that environment. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. But I think there's a lot of positives. There's some guys that we'll speak with that I wasn't overly happy with, but that's again, can't get too carried away. It's a couple rookie games as well.
You highlighted Jett Luchanko, and he's been having a huge preseason with the Storm, and he's been having really impressive camp. What are you expecting from him going into this season as he goes back to the OHL and just continues to develop his game?
I think he just does his thing. Like you guys have probably had a chance to speak to him. He's a really mature kid for his age. He knows what he is. He knows what he has to do, and we don't ask him to be anything more. We're just obviously he's going to be a big leader on that team. He's going to play a ton of minutes in all situations, which is great. But again, we don't want him to be anything that he's not. Just make sure he's taking care of himself, getting better every day, and that's his focus. So
he's a kid who looks like he could play in the AHL next year, but obviously because of rules and regulations, he has to go back to the OHL. How do you make sure that he's still developing his game, even though he's playing maybe against his peers and not men?
Yeah, we go through this a lot with certain players, but he's a young guy, just turned 18 recently. I think he's mature beyond his years, but at the same time, there's lots of things in his game that he can improve on at the junior level, and hopefully, he generates offense, but at the same time, to take that game to another level, it's hard to do at the pro level when you're 18 years old. So I think junior level will be good for him. At the same time, he's unlike a lot of other kids, maybe where they get a little complacent. I just don't think he has that gene in him.
There are a lot of fans. Obviously, fans are going to get excited about guys, but they see Luchanko getting a lower number for camp. He plays well in the rookie games. And they start thinking, is there any way he can get the 9-game audition? Is that possibly in the cards for Luchanko? Or
you can always talk about it. Me personally, that's obviously up to Torts and his performance, but that's a big stretch. But I guess it's possible. Like I wouldn't say no, but again, it's we're worried about the player at 22, 23 more so than at 18. So, but again, my guess is he'll come in and he's here to make the team. That's his mentality. So that's great. I'm certainly not going to tell him anything different. So.
With Michkov, you guys had seen him a ton. You've watched him, but I think a lot of the fans had not seen him until the rookie game. Was there any sense of rewarding feeling that for you guys, they're like, yes, this is the kid that we've been telling people about and been touting?
Yeah, well, it's you guys have seen him as much. I haven't seen him much since Dallas a few years ago, but other than on video, like you guys have seen. So, but he's a dynamic player. I think anybody can go to a game and from the blue line in, he's driven to score. He's highly competitive, and obviously has the hockey sense, the skill, and the drive to generate offense. Like he wants to score every shift, and if he doesn't, he gets fired up. So see that compete level, and he is having fun there. I think there's another level to his game, obviously, but just to get it, I think to get his feet wet in a North American style game in camp before stepping on with the big guys will be advantage for him.
With Emil Andrae, we were talking to Ian LaPerriere last night. Wasn't perfect over the weekend, but he just keeps going. Do you feel like he's going to push? I know the defensive picture on the big club is going to be tough to crack, but how much do you think he'll push?
Well, I hope so. I think he's had a real good summer physically. He's one of those guys who's had a little more experience. Put him in these games, and just because we only had, I don't know if you noticed, but we only had 2 left shot defensemen. So he and Hunter might have only normally played 1, but they played 2. So those are the type of guys that they're here for the next camp, and but you can see his compete level, and I think there were some ups and downs in his game, but again, there are more positives than negatives for sure. And my guess is by next week he'll be ready to go. So, but yeah, no, he's here. you know, it's the second time around. I think he's pretty self-aware as far as where he was last year and what he needed to work on. So hopefully he can show it and compete for a job. Like we're not a 5-year Stanley Cup running team. We have some competition, and guys are aware they're gonna have to battle for jobs here going forward as some of their younger players kind of step in.
Tumal did not skate today.
He's day to day, just a little banged up. So to skate today wasn't a big deal. So
He hasn't been skating.
Yeah.
Where is he at right now? What do you, how does this have maybe impacted long-term not playing or skating at camp?
yeah, he's recovering from mono, which he was diagnosed about 3 weeks ago. So he was feeling off. They had tested up in Canada and found out. So it's unfortunate. I guess that there is a positive. It's happened in the summertime, so he has a chance to recover a little bit. But he skated yesterday, I think 1-on-1 with Sharpie, and he's feeling better. He lost some weight, but he since gained almost half of it back, I guess. But our goal for him in camp here is just to build him back up strength wise, energy wise, and before he leaves here, make sure he's 100%. So I hope at some point before the end of camp that he'll be able to participate with the big guys, but obviously just the timing wise and where he would strengthen his energy level. He actually feels good, he says, but we certainly weren't going to push him to get in the game. So hopefully he should be cleared for contact maybe even later this week. And I'm not saying we're going to rush him right into, I don't know if I need to see him do torts of skate or anything like that, but he's anxious. He's, if you got to know him, he's driving crazy sitting here watching games being played without him. So, but yeah, hopefully before he leaves here, you guys will see him and take part in camp. So
JR Avon seems like just a really interesting kid, like speed, chip, need. I think it's year 2 with the Phantoms, if I believe. But
Yeah.
Where do you think his timeline is, and do you think he's a guy that could eventually get to the Flyers?
well, yeah, we took him out of position. We gave him a chance at center here in these 2 games, and moved Desi to the wing to give him a look. And I think there's some things he's going to have to work on for that position. But you can see some of the dynamics that he brings with his speed, quickness, and his energy level. That he's going to have to work on his game and round out his game and find his niche. But at the same time, he has some assets that will give him a chance down the road. So we just need to help him along, and he needs to find his identity. Last year was kind of an up and down, but he had some good games, and he just had to battle for ice time, found some traction there at the end, and even as a shootout specialist, he was great. So it's to have just a little niche like that is something to build on. And but becoming a penalty killer this year, finding a bigger role down in Lehigh Valley, and hopefully that part of his game could transition, and hopefully next camp he can maybe push for more games and hopefully put himself on the map as a call up, or maybe pushes for a spot. You never know.
I think maybe on grounds.
Mhm.
Where do you
On
think-
grounds?
Yeah.
Well, Helge's he's a young guy still, but he's played a number of years just because the LA put him in the American League as a young player. But I think he's slowly over the years, even when LA's program to now, he's kind of steadily getting better. Now he has to find a niche for himself. Like, he's a tall, rangy guy. He can skate. He can move the puck. Now he just has to find a way to beat out another player. So he has to become a real good penalty killer. He maybe run up second power play or be on a second power play, but he needs to find a niche that'll give him an opportunity to play games. So, but he can skate, he can move the puck, he can defend. I think his consistency level is a challenge for him over the last year. Part of that's injuries, part of that's just growing as a player. So, but it's a big year for him.